OPEC Plus member Nigeria is facing skepticism over its ability to achieve its ambitious 2024 oil production target of 1.78 million barrels per day. And that's according to figures from two of the three consultancies tasked with verifying the country's output. Nigeria's oil production has been on a downward trajectory for years now, hampered by a combination of factors, including underinvestment in oil infrastructure, theft, vandalism of pipelines, and security concerns. Now, these challenges have constrained Nigeria's ability to reach its production targets, casting doubt on its prospects of achieving the 2024 goal, leading to disagreements over production quotas, particularly for African producers, including Angola. Now, Nigeria's request for a higher 2024 quota comes at a time when OPEC Plus is considering, at this point, to further reduce production. Now, that would also raise questions about the country's ability to meet its ambitious goals. Now, Dr. Nnaemeka Onyeka Obiaraeri, who is a development economist and, of course, investment banker, joins me at this point to talk more on this. Doctor, it's nice to have you around.
Thanks for having me.
Now, for years, Nigeria has struggled with increasing oil production and meeting its OPEC Plus quota. And that is due to various concerns or situations, as I highlighted earlier. We're looking at oil theft, pipeline vandalism, insecurity issues, and all that. Now, are there more reasons why Nigeria's oil production has been declining, aside these other issues that we already know?
There are other factors. First of all, we lack of new investment into that sector. Then oil theft has been at the root of it. You remember, I think last year, the GMB of NNPC, Obiaraeri, told us clearly that Nigeria loses over $1.9 billion worth of oil, crude oil, resources to thefts and inefficiency. That's about $22.7 billion lost annually. And you also discover that the likes of the Majors, the Total, the Shell, they are selling up their oil assets and leaving Nigeria because of the issues of, lack of transparency, opacity of regulatory framework in Nigeria. We have advocated, even the 1.78 million barrels a day estimate is below my expectation. I will explain this to you. In 2011, if you recall, Nigeria was producing and exporting 2.3, 2.4, 2.5 million barrels of crude and condensate. And this is the same country and we can do it. And we shouldn't worry ourselves with OPEC concern. Even if OPEC says, okay, our quota is only 1.8 million barrels a day, we can do off OPEC production. I expect Nigeria to be able to, look at the regulatory framework. We have the PIB. Also, I was one of those when they were trying to pass the PIB. One of our contributions that Nigeria should involve the host communities. We pleaded with National Assembly to provide at least 3% to the host communities, even 10%. Because one thing is very clear, when the host communities are directly involved in the protection of the pipelines, the oil assets, there will be less incentives for anybody to steal the crude because they will be there protecting their waterways, helping the police, helping the army, helping the regulators. 1.78 million barrels, if you look at the numbers, we'll be able to generate about, give or take, $50 billion into the Nigerian economy. By the time you back out the cost of production, it may be less. But we must be able to look at the whole regulatory framework, look at the PIB, look at the PIB again, and see how we can fine-tune it. We can actually ramp up production to about 2.5 million barrels over time, if not this year, by next year. But we must put in place how we can open up the existing wells, re-entry into the existing wells, how new wells can be drilled, how we are going to bring in new investment, getting more rigs that can do onshore, shallow offshore and offshore, rejig the whole regulatory, environment to make it more competitive. Apart from the crude oil, gas too. These are areas we'll be looking at. Okay, assuming OPEC quota is 1.8 and we produce 2.5, we can actually dedicate the remaining to servicing most of the refineries in Nigeria. I was so miffed looking at Dangote refineries with the issue of going back and forth, having the feedstock to fire that refinery. Recently, they are now that they will be getting starting with about 350,000 barrels a day, and all those stuff. We shouldn't be thinking about, so it should not be a problem. Nigeria has enough proven gas reserve to last us over the next 35 to 40 years. And we are still discovering more fields. We are still, our deposits, our reserves will keep on increasing. Basically, what we should be thinking about is what regulatory, what policy measures, what incentives, how do we involve the whole communities and the stakeholders to ensure that the other measures that are in the market stays.
Hello, Dr. Obiaraeri. Okay, I think we just lost our connection with the doctor right there, and he says so many things as regards what the Nigerian government may need to do if it is hoping to optimize its production line in the oil sector. Doctor, thank you for staying with us of course, we've been able to reestablish connection with you. Two things I want to draw out from what you said. You said that investments have been lacking in this sector, and you said that Nigeria has the potential to scale up its production, but then there's been a particular consultancy firms, about 3 that were contracted by OPEC Plus to actually evaluate the potential of Nigeria to increase its production quota. And from their findings and figures, they said that Nigeria does not have the capacity to even reach 1.78 million barrels per day. So I want to tie that to what you have said now. Of course, the Nigerian government said that it has presented evidence to show that it has the capacity. But from the figures we're getting and what has been presented in terms of reports and figures to OPEC, is that Nigeria cannot ramp up its production in that line. So I'm actually looking at what we need to believe in terms of, does Nigeria have enough investments and the capacity to do that? And 2, the Nigerian government has also projected that if quota is improved, it will reach 1.78 million barrels per day. From what you've said, does that show that this projection by Nigeria is realistic or unrealistic? Because we're looking at how to generate funds to fund the budgets. So I'd like you to also react to these 2 areas.
I just mentioned to you here that between 2010, 2011, 2012, Nigeria produced 2.3, 2.4, 2 million barrels of crude oil a day. In fact, as at even 2015, go and check the records. As at 2015, 2014-2015, before Buhari took power, Nigeria was producing 2 million, 2.1, 2.2 million barrels of crude oil a day. So, it is laughable for anybody to say that Nigeria does not have potentials or capacity to produce 1.8 million barrels of crude a day. We have it. Like I said, what we need to do, what was this we did that worked for us 2011, 2012, 2013? We can actually produce 2.5 million barrels of crude a day.
Okay, Doctor, just spare me a few seconds, all right? We'll go on a break, and when we return, we'll conclude on this discussion. Just stay with me. And just as we wrap up on the show, we have, of course, been talking to Dr. Nnaemeka, Onyeka, Obiaraeri, looking at how the Nigerian government can sustain its oil production levels. The target is about 1.78 million barrels per day, and the doctor has been saying that Nigeria can actually even increase up to 2.1 million barrels per day if all measures and all factors are put into consideration. And now, Doctor, to just quickly close on this, OPEC has postponed its meeting, and that indicates that the group is unable to reach an agreement on the production quotas for African producers, which includes Nigeria. And from the feelers that we're getting, a meeting will be held today, and we're actually looking at what OPEC Plus will be deciding. Now, in the interim, how is the situation for Nigeria and OPEC Plus, and what implications do you think this will have on the markets?
So basically, of course, we've seen the reaction. Before the OPEC meeting, markets was a bit running up the prices, and it has tampered down over the last 24 hours. Even that said, I think Nigeria should look inward. Nigeria should look at what works for us. We need forex inflow into this country. We need to stabilize our FX market. We need to clear the backlog of LC obligations still existing in the banking industry. We need to do a lot of things to diversify the economy, to do more of gas beyond the fossil fuel. But like I said, we need to also support modular refineries, getting many other investors to set up modular refineries by the coastal waters from Cocoa to Port Harcourt to One and all the rest of them, so that we can actually, Nigeria can actually refine enough petroleum products for our local consumption and export to the rest of the West African market. It's actually easier and cheaper for us to do it here because one, by the time those of them that are bringing in products from Rotterdam, from Asia gets here, the cost of logistics will be far cheaper for us producing here and selling for the rest of Sub-Saharan Africa and our neighbors. So basically, we should look at, there are diverse structural arrangements that can be put in place that will enable us still not meet our OPEC quota and have excess production. We have advocated some of these things. If you look at the existing refineries, most of them are moribund. We are trying to spend money to revive them. NNPC can actually go, NNPC might asset of over $60 billion. They can actually look at divesting some of their holdings in the JV arrangement with the oil majors, getting more local players to participate in that area. And also in the refineries, they should get in other deep-pocketed, technically savvy and capable investors to take over the refineries and take majority shares in those refineries. We can actually dedicate as okay for the refineries with local combined capacities. We can even increase the second trains within those refineries, just like the one in Port Harcourt and Warri, under such an arrangement. And dedicate, we are going to be producing 1 million barrels per day. That will be dedicated to local refinery. A special arrangement can be entered. It's not for export. So by such doing, we can be able to conserve over $12 billion we waste annually importing mineral and petroleum resources that we can actually refine here. So there are diverse ways. I trust this government. Government have very knowledgeable experts that can help on this.
Yeah, definitely. Dr. Nnaemeka Onyeka, Obiaraeri, development economist and investment banker. Definitely, we are going to revisit this topic and we'll bring you back on to talk more on this. But we want to say thank you so much for your profound expose.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. Now, underinvestment and unrest in the oil-producing Delta region has squeezed Nigeria's oil output, no doubt, from around 2 million barrels per day 5 years ago. And that was what the doctor confirmed a few minutes back. That actually deprived the governments of much-needed revenue. Now, OPEC figures put the country's October crude outputs close to 1.38 million barrels per day for the 2024 quota, while the Nigerian government is saying that it has the capacity to scale it up to about 1.78 million barrels per day. We will continue to look at this particular issue and see if Nigeria or if OPEC Plus will be able to give caution or recourse to Nigeria in terms of increasing its quota, and if Nigeria will also be able to do more by meeting its mandate in that regard. Thank you so much for joining us on today's edition of Business Edge. Don't forget that you can visit our social media platforms at News Central TV, download our mobile app on App Store and Play Store, and equally visit our websites www.newscentral.africa. I am Lekan Onabanjo. Many thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day and stay with us for the news at the top of the hour.